Welcome back, everybody, to the Average Fan Podcast, episode 8. Um,
8? We're on 8
8.
already?
Yes, this is. I honestly was. It feels great to get this far, to keep being consistent enough to record and hear your sultry voice for an hour. Um, every
I know,
week.
right? I have to wear a diaper every time I talk to you.
Oh, okay. Twinsies, Whimsical. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, diaper bros. When in the new Mario and Luigi, but Michael and Ben who wear diapers.
Yep. And we're
Okay.
both Irish.
We are Irish. Sure that people have guessed now by this beard hair. Um, Very Irish type of beard hair. Fortunately, I'm not ginger though. I'd hate that. I
We
would
do
kill
have we
myself.
do know someone who's half Peruvian, half Colombian, and he claims he's more Irish than Michael is. So,
And just to know, just so you guys know, my mother was probably like 90. It is not was 95% like Irish. So I'm like damn near 49 or 45% Irish, 42 and a half, whatever. Um,
that's why you're so handsome.
hey, I see what you're doing here. Get me worked up, get me hot and sweaty in this cold uh noon. That's the one we're recording. Um, but yeah, how's your week been, man? Have you had a good run of the mill?
Yeah, it's been a week. I was actually texting Michael over the weekend. I was kind of in like a hateful state just because of for any again, I know I talk about Michigan State football a lot, and I promise I'm done after this week because I mean, we got like obliterated by our rivals at home. I was at the game, uh, and I was texting Michael, and then when the Falcons lost, I think I took some of that anger out on him, and I just need to apologize. I was, you know. Kirk Cousins is from Michigan State, and I thought maybe that'd make me feel better, but it just kind of made me feel empty. So
I appreciate your apology. What's done is done, though.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it was just when he was probably going like watching the Michigan game, and then the next day he's looking at his phone, and I mean you see, we'll get into it fully, but you see the Atlanta Falcons down by whatever to the absolute and utter stinker that Miami is.
I needed to do something to make me feel better, and
Yeah, that was that's your vice. But yeah, it's no big deal. I mean, it's just talking crap with friends. So understand I don't take it personally. And to those out there, if you do take it personally, when it's very obvious that somebody's joking around, you're a bitch. What it is. It's just football. It's a game. It's not going to affect nobody seriously, unless they're just like yo, f you, man. Your team sucks, and they're actually trying to hurt you. And then you just break their nose. But it's beside the point.
Halloween is tomorrow. I don't know if you have any plans, but I am gonna be hosting a little Halloween get together on the first, going as a vampire victim, and my partner is going as a vampire. So I just have to wear a white shirt with blood on it and two little bite marks on my neck. Usually where Michael leaves them.
You know how it goes. Yeah, I'm going up to the University of Georgia area, that Athens,
Ooh,
Georgia. Hang out with some friends up there. I have this Puff the Magic Dragon onesie that I just throw on some pants and a basketball jersey on. And now I'm a
Michael, I need to
mascot.
see this. I need to see this onesie.
Uh, Hold on, let me see if I can't find. I think I might have a picture that I can send you off stream or off uh, recording, whatever we call it. Um, so at some point you'll see. I'm sure you'll also see. I'll send you a video on Friday when everything is
Oh,
on.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but yeah, you better show me your Edward cosplay.
I've been told I look like Edward Cullen. I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is. Also, speaking about Kirk Cousins makes me think. Michael, you've told me I look like Kirk Cousins before. I also have been in the East Lansing Raising Canes, and two dudes came up to me and they said, "You look like Kirk Cousins." So I've been told that by multiple people I don't even know. And so
Dude, that's so funny. So I keep going.
so I was just gonna say we could put a picture of Kirk Cousins up. Can people in the comments please tell me if I look like Kirk Cousins? Because my girlfriend thinks I do a little bit, but I've also been told by a lot of people I don't. And so I need to get to the bottom of this if I look like the GOAT himself.
You should have went as Kirk Cousins. To be
Kirkland
honest with you.
Cousins.
You should have. Have you seen like his? Have you seen like videos of his wife? You can have your lady friend pretend to be this ultra Christian farm girl who dresses up her husband every day, and then you can just be the Michigan State what could have been.
I mean, my girlfriend does dress me up.
Oh, there you go.
So is
Love
that
to
her?
see that.
I'd be going out in skinny jeans and shit. I don't know.
Skinny jeans, getting that ATL influence.
Nah, it's not that. It's just I've been putting on some weight, so they don't fit no more.
You can put on some muscle, right, baby? Put on that beef. Anyways,
Don't get yourself worked up again. We've already been over this.
this week has been weird. You have some good games, or this last week, sorry, week 8, has been a bit weird. You have a bunch of blowouts, and then you have a bunch of close games. And instead of, like last week or the week before, week 7, where it was like all the blowouts were on the 1 p.m. and then all the good games were on the like 2 or the 4:25. This one is spread out sporadically. So, and it's between a bunch of mid teams. The bad teams are starting to claw back. And certain teams are starting to separate themselves. You're starting to clearly see who's good, who's not. So it's very interesting to see how this is evolving.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I don't feel like there were any particularly crazy good matchups this week. And I mean, as anyone who watches the league knows that just happens. Actually, we've been very lucky that we've been having a lot of really good matchups recently. But I mean, we started out on Thursday night with the Chargers just like grabbing the love handles of the Minnesota Vikings and just doing whatever they wanted.
37-10 was the final score. That's the only way that you can put it. Jordan Addison was a player on my bench, unfortunately. I also had Quentin Johnston on my starting lineup. For those of you that know, he got a fat goose egg, and I lost my game because of it. I lost by like 5 points. Had I put literally anybody in outside of Johnston, I would have won. Because everybody on my bench had like 6 points minimum.
I put in Gadsden.
Yeah, that's
Picked him up off of waiver wire, put him in. I had him as my flex player too. I had 2 tight ends in this week.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that. 2 tight ends might be low key a move, especially when a bunch of decent tight ends find themselves on waivers, and like you're not finding good wide receivers on waivers often. So it's very interesting how fantasy wise how this game or how this year is going. Justin Herbert throws 3 touchdowns, and the Vikings really can't get anything done. 2 carries, 16 yards. That's their leading rusher. The Chargers, like he said, just a real stomp. Unless, did you have any more that you wanted to say?
No, I mean, we can just touch on the whole like Carson Wentz. We found out that he's had like a fractured shoulder and like a torn labrum, and they've just been putting him out there for games to protect JJ McCarthy. Like, I kind of felt bad, like just watching. Like, I mean, Carson Wentz isn't good, but when you learn about players like last year, Bo Nix playing with like a fractured spine, these dudes are tough. And I just feel bad for him because like,
Yeah.
he started so good with the Eagles, and now he's just fallen so far. And truly, this game isn't really on him. I mean, obviously it is, but with what we know, could even like Patrick Mahomes go out and carry a Minnesota team with a fractured shoulder and like intense pain? No, I don't think so. It might have been closer, but like it's just not on him, and I hope he's able to recover quickly because that really sucks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel really bad for Carson Wentz because he doesn't really deserve that. He's also played pretty well when he is healthy with this team. So it's very sad to see him get beat up like this. But there is a report. I just remembered this. The Minnesota Vikings have contacted the Atlanta Falcons about the
Oh,
availability of Kirk
oh,
Cousins.
oh God,
This
oh
is a
God.
real thing that's happened.
Bring him in. Bring in
Um,
Kirk Cousins,
so
bro.
I don't. I thought JJ McCarthy was decently healthy enough to play, at least within the next coming weeks. So this call is indicative of two things. One, the Vikings are not very confident in JJ McCarthy anymore. Or two, his injury is a lot worse than anybody's predicted because he was supposed to come back week 8, and we're coming into week 9 now. So a little funky. Um, So I don't know how they're going, but it seems like there's a big mismanagement issue right now in the Vikings. Um, but that's really all there is to say about that. So we'll just move on here to an actual good game between, get this, the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets. Those
Oh yeah,
Jets
I
finally.
watched. I watched the end of this game. That like, I don't think I've ever actually watched a good game of New York Jets football, but this one, it was actually kind of beautiful. Like, brings a tear to my eye just thinking about it.
Brees Hall finally did something for once in his career. 133 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Um, the New York Jets come away with their first win of the year, 39-38. Um, Joe Flacco played phenomenally as well, 21 for 34, 2 touchdowns, 233 yards. But for the first time in Justin Fields' career, he outpassed somebody, 244 and a touchdown. So this is, it's good to see the Jets finally pull and win out.
Did you see that one Brees Hall touchdown pass?
Uh, the No, I didn't.
Because it was like they handed it to Brees Hall. I think it was supposed to be a running play, but he didn't have any openings, so he just took it and chucked it to the corner of the end zone to, uh,
Mason
I
Taylor.
guess, yeah, Mason Taylor, and he caught it. And it was, I mean, that was probably the play of the week, if I'm being honest, because that won him the game, first of all. And it just, like, if anything, I know people are shitting on Aaron Glenn, which some of it is valid, but when you have players doing plays like that, despite how terrible the Jets are, to me that does say that there is still there's still fight in this locker room.
Yeah.
Even though they're down, and this reminds me of like the 2021 Lions. I mean, Glenn was there. Of like, yeah, every week, you have like they might not win. They might win 2 games more this year if they're lucky, but these players are willing to try to make plays to win because they care about the guys around them, and that just speaks miles to me. And again, that doesn't even mean that Aaron Glenn is going to end up being a good coach or not. It just shows that like he's at least able to get these guys fired up and motivated to try to win a game, even if they're 0-7 going into the week.
Yeah, it's very nice to see. I mean, it's not been like the Jets have been super trash. There's a constant graphic that goes around every once in a while about like if one score games were flipped, had the Jets had that happen to them, they'd be 5-2. So I don't. I'm still not a big fan of the Jets. They do enough to give their fans hope, then they kill that hope. I'm sure the Jets fans are like, music to my ears, snap, snap, good poem. Um, because that's just what happens. As a Falcons fan, I feel that a lot as well. But it's good to see that they actually have fight, which it seems to be void in the Falcons. So good on the Jets. The Bengals are still also fighting. It's not like they lost by much; they lost by one. Um, so I love to see Flacco excel, and good for Aaron Glenn to finally get his first win as head coach.
Yeah. But for the next game, I also watched this game. This game made me so like I can't explain how cathartic this game was for me because again, like I said last week, the Bears are being carried by their defense, and inevitably when you have like 3 turnovers a game, that's going to come back down to earth for a team that plays clean football, and even like a backup quarterback can play clean football. Chicago Bears lose by 2 scores to the Tyler Huntley. He is a Pro Bowler.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
led Baltimore Ravens. I loved every moment of this game. Caleb Williams is not playing well. I'm not going to say he's a bust because, it's year two. He's under a new regime. But he had the opportunity to carry this team on his back, and he did not. I mean, I know, again, there's the whole, like, oh, is it an asterisk because all of the starting corners of Chicago are out? It's like, okay, well, Tyler Huntley is playing as quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, you can make the argument for both sides, and maybe maybe if they had their corners, things would be different. But it's also, if their corners were in and Lamar Jackson was playing, it would also have been different. So I just feel like the Ravens, people are really low on the Ravens, and especially with Lamar Jackson coming back, I don't see them having a losing record. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs or win the division, but I wouldn't be surprised if they rattle off 3 wins in a row right now. Get back to 5-5.
And the week prior, there, if you guys don't, keep up with NFL in general on social media, you might not know this. Marlon Humphrey, a defensive back for the Ravens, he likes to go live a lot. He's very into internet culture, and so he's on Instagram Live, and I think they're flying to, or they're going somewhere. They're on a plane. They're going somewhere, and Marlon Humphreys is good friends with Lamar Jackson, and he shows Lamar Jackson on the lot, and Lamar looks at the camera and he goes, "Hey man, turn that shit off. You really shouldn't be live right now. Like we suck." Stuff like that. Some real leader stuff where it's like, hey, this is obviously what we've been doing is a distraction. He said earlier this week that he's removed all TVs, all table tennis tables, any entertainment from the locker room, gone. And as a result, you see things like this where Derrick Henry finally steps up. He rushes for 2 touchdowns, 71 yards. Tyler Huntley is able to throw 22 times and only have 4 incompletions, while almost throwing for 100 or 200 and a touchdown. While Caleb Williams almost has 300, and Rome Odunze almost has 120 yards. So it's great to see that this Ravens locker room is not dead. I don't know how they're gonna. It's gonna be a miracle for them really to make the playoffs at this point. Because they are still 2-5, only one game up on Cleveland. And just because they had a bye week. That's the only reason why I think they're up. Um, so it's interesting to see how they go from there. Once Lamar Jackson comes back, it's gonna definitely greatly improve. And this is
We're forgetting too that like Lamar Jackson is still, like, even though he's not playing, he's still on the sideline, still leading this team. And so, like, he's still at every game, like you were saying, and he still wants this team to win, and he can still contribute even if he's not on the field.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So it's good to see them move on. All right, moving on to something that I watched this whole game, and it was probably another one of the worst things that I've ever watched because we let somebody who everybody thinks is trash dot us up. This is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Miami Dolphins. A thrashing, really, 34-10. 4 touchdown passes from Tua. He has 6 incompletions. We were missing Michael Penix. He was out with the knee bruise, and then we ended up losing Drake London with like a shoulder or something like that. Very unfortunate and very massive losses. Our offense was horrible. It was not good. We did have 76 yards in penalties, though. I don't really think that's indicative of why we lost. I think we lost because we are constantly put up into positions to fail by our coaching staff, where Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson are consistently coming to the table with an unprepared football team. We're getting dogged. We have no true game plan, and when things get tough, we abandon what makes us good. Bijan Robinson throughout this entire game has 9 carries for 25 yards, and then Raheem Morris has the audacity to say at halftime, "We need to run the ball more because we aren't able to run the ball right now." It's not about we aren't. It's just you're physically not. Like, you're just not rushing, because You have a stupid game plan. You get down multiple scores really quick. That's 17-3 at halftime. Um, and now you don't feel comfortable rushing the ball, even though Miami is literally like bottom two in rush defense. We should, if we're gonna go three and out, I would prefer three Bijan Robinson rushes versus three Kirk Cousins incompletions where he's overthrowing a wide open receiver 20 yards downfield by 30 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Also, yeah, and like the whole thing is, if you have two Bijan rushes, and even if he is only getting 3 yards a carry, then it's I'd trust Kirk Cousins to complete a 3rd and 4 like slant pass than having to do a 10 yard plus completion. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
and I understand Kirk Cousins does have the caliber to start on a team. So you can put more trust in him than you can a normal backup, but you're not seeing Tyler Huntley throw 31 times. You're not, especially if they have Derrick Henry. You're not seeing Jake Browning throw, you know, well, you are seeing him throw a bunch because they have Chase Brown. But like if they had Joe Mixon, you're rushing with Joe Mixon more. Or at the very least, you're throwing to your star running back. So it's a complete mismanagement by the Falcons offense and the coaching staff, who apparently seem to not realize the state of the team because they think that they're so foolproof. Great on Miami to bounce back. They had a lot of long touchdowns. Not a lot, but you have a 20-yard pass and a 43-yard pass, both for touchdowns later in the game. And they didn't take their foot off the gas. They didn't let us recover. Good on them.
I mean, yeah, Raheem Morris let himself get outcoached by
A coach who's gonna get fired this
Mike
year.
McDaniel. Yeah, I mean, it just I did watch some of this game too, and like you were saying, and I was saying this last week. Why on earth you have Michael Penix out, you have Drake London out? I mean, Kyle Pitts was your leading receiver, and the whole jury's out on Kyle Pitts or whatever. He's not bad by any means.
No, he deserved to get re-signed.
Why on earth are you abandoning the run? Like, I'm gonna just use the example of the Lions. If the Lions are down by a touchdown or two, going out of half, did they just stop giving Jahmyr Gibbs the ball? Absolutely not. Bijan Robinson is a liability to run for a 60-yard touchdown on any given play. Might not be likely, but he could do that, and it's so much safer to run the ball than it is to try and pass it, especially when you have a backup in without your leading receiver. It just, to me, it feels like common sense again. So I do feel like Raheem Morris needs to be fired because it's so frustrating, especially because like the Falcons are one of my favorite teams besides the Lions. Like this game kind of, at least for this week when we get to predictions, like I don't buy into the Falcons right now.
Yeah.
I had at the beginning, and now it's just like we could go into next week and the Falcons bounce back. They get 5 sacks. Michael Penix, 0 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 350 yards. Bijan, 150 yards. Like they are capable of that. Or we can have a game where they don't put up a single point on the Carolina Panthers, who just got absolutely destroyed by James Cook. Bijan is better than James Cook. Like I just don't understand how stuff like that can happen.
And yeah, like you said, it's entire. Like both of us are saying, it's so clear to everybody but the organization itself that our coaches are constantly failing us. I like Raheem, I like Zach Robinson, but they need to go, which is unfortunate. I've had a lot of faith in him, Raheem Morris, because with him being here, we have been a bit more competitive. The team has more passion in them, but passion can only take you so far. If the coach is failing to do coach things and not recognizing that the coach is the one failing, then you get games like this. And this has happened. This is the third time this has happened. We came unprepared to the San Francisco game and the Carolina game, and now this game. Those are all three extremely winnable games, and I mean extremely winnable. Two of those teams are literally bottom teams in the NFL right now. The Panthers, have overtaken us as being now we're one of the bottom teams in the NFL, and that's just reality. And the Niners, we could have had a good win on that record, but we don't because we're unprepared consistently. But enough about that. So we'll we'll go ahead and move on to the game that you started to bring up. The Buffalo Bills versus the Carolina Panthers, a 40-9 thrashing. Um, I have a friend, Panthers fan, and on Prize Picks, which is a gambling app. Please don't gamble if you don't have money. Only gamble with stuff that you're available to do stuff like that. Do it for fun, not to try to make rent or anything like that. Um, there's a thing that you can play for free where you guess the first touchdown of each game in a slate that they give you. One of them was this game, and I'm bringing up James Cook as a possibility, and he's like, no, like we lock up running backs, and I'm like, this is literally James Cook. Lo and behold, first touchdown of the game, 64-yard rush from James Cook. He ended up with 216 and two touchdowns. An astounding game by him. Um, and that there's not much that you can really tack on. I mean, they routed them to say the least. There was also no Bryce Young, so I do want to bring that up. Bryce Young was out. He didn't play a snap. It was Andy Dalton the whole game, so that also plays a part to it. But 40-9.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like, especially and with how the Panthers are gonna play next week, or I guess this upcoming week. And let me just quickly check who they are playing. I know they're playing Green Bay. Um, it raises the question to me of like, is Bryce Young like? I know the defense let the Panthers down this game, so I'm not trying to make any sort of like, oh, it's uh the offense could have played better and won. Like, I don't know if the Panthers can put up 40 points, but there is the question, if Bryce Young had been playing, and I don't think Bryce Young is even like a top half quarterback, but he's certainly much better than Andy Dalton at this point. How might this game have been different? It could have been, I mean, it still could have been 28-20, like not really that close, but that does raise the question for me of like, okay, how important is Bryce Young at this point? Because I remember when he first got benched for Andy Dalton destroyed the Raiders. And now Bryce Young is out being injured, and Andy Dalton completely just throws the game away. So the point I'm trying to make is, how do the Panthers bounce back from this? We know Dave Canales is a good coach. Personally, I don't understand why they're trying to split carries between Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle when Rico is, in my opinion, clearly the better back right now. I feel like if they want to beat the Packers, which I'll talk more about when we get to the prediction section, make Rico RB1. Uh, have Bryce Young do what he does best, which I feel like is check downs. He's certainly playing a lot better. And see if you can. I mean, they have a pretty good run defense except for last week. See if you can neutralize. I always forget who the running back for the Packers is, but yeah, Josh Jacobs. Like, just try to game plan better. And again, I'm not blaming the coaching for this game. I mean, Andy Dalton had 2 fumbles and a pick. Like, 3 turnovers is tough to win from. So I feel like you just got to move on from this game. They're still 4-4. And with the way the AFC South is right now, I mean, the Panthers are in second place. So it is possible that they could win the division. I'm not saying they will, but
Way better position than the Falcons are in, especially with division win over us as well. Um, and Falcons have a tough schedule ahead, especially with the state of how the team has been. So the Panthers actually do have a good shot of possibly wild carding in a spot that the Falcons should have been in. But, it is what it is. Good bounce back from the Bills after being ironically beat last by the Falcons pretty badly.
next game though is quite. I actually was quite surprised by this. The Houston Texans blowing out the 49ers. I personally, when I saw this, I was not expecting the Texans to win. We know they have a good defense. But CJ Stroud playing his best game in over a year. I know. I again, it's kind of like the Panthers. We know Nick Bosa's out. We know Fred Warner's out. So their defense isn't very good. I don't know. It could be a matter of just finally they're able to coach up the team. They're able to game plan. CJ Stroud is finally feeling comfortable. It could be any number of things, and I'm not buying in quite yet. But the Texans are 3-4. They've been winning more games, and I mean I like the Texans. I like CJ Stroud. Um, I think that where this team is heading could be in the right direction. But again, until they play a team like Denver this week, with also has a lethal defense, I'm not gonna buy in. If they somehow beat Denver, then I will be, yes, I'm buying in. I don't think it will happen, but I mean, we know the Texans have the best defense in the league. I'm just curious to kind of see where this goes.
Yeah, I much like the Falcons in their loss, this seems like a team that showed up unprepared. Christian McCaffrey only has 8 carries for 25 yards. That is a crime. Mac Jones didn't even get over 200 when I think each of his other games. I mean, the dude is throwing for like 300 every time. From what I've seen, I didn't watch this game, but from remarks around social media, Juwan Jennings has been playing very lazy. I do want to note Christian McCaffrey does have 3 receptions for 43 yards as a running back when you're probably the team's leading receiver and rusher. There's a big issue there. So this wide receiver core and their weakness is starting to show. And when you have honestly a good secondary like Houston does, you got Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, Jalen Petre, all these players that are quick, ball hawks, and actually very smart. And then you have Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter coming at you every snap. It's very indicative of why this game turned out the way it is. Houston finally explodes, like you said. Stroud, big game, 2 touchdowns, 318 yards. When you play good enough to where you throw an interception and it doesn't matter, that's always something that you can be happy for. Their offense was just actually like getting down to the red zone, and Ka'imi Fairburn was able to get like 1, 2, 3, 4 field goals. I mean, yeah, when you're kicking 4 field goals and you're scoring like 2 touchdowns, that's usually pretty good. So good on the Texans. Like you said, I'm not buying into them. Low key, even if they do beat the Broncos, I'm still not buying into them. They got to show that this is a repeatable thing. I need to see more wins against more teams.
Team that isn't in the whole team isn't in the hospital.
Yeah, and so. They're 3-4. Jacksonville's 4-3. So Jacksonville's had a real rough couple of weeks, falling from grace, and Houston is rising from the ashes. So we'll see how the AFC South plays out.
Surprisingly, both the NFC South and the AFC South are not the worst division in football this year.
Yeah, which is very funny to think about.
But then the question is, what is the worst division of football right now?
Right now,
AFC North.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a game or two when we get there. I think it is the AFC North, but it also is just because of injuries and things of that nature. But this next game is a divisional matchup between a division who also isn't looking very hot. And that's the NFC East. And we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants.
May Cam Scadaboo rest in peace.
Yeah, I saw that injury. That man's ankle was turned literally sideways. Unfortunately, the type of injury severity could also lead to a season, not just a season ending injury, but depending on how it's messed up and how really bad it is, he might not be able to run properly anymore, which would be a career-ending injury. So everybody's really hoping that that's not the case. Saquon Barkley also left out with a groin injury, much easier to deal with.
150 yards.
150 and a touchdown. So for once, they actually do something. Jalen Brown, or not Jalen Brown, Jalen Hurts throws for 4 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert twice, and Jahan Dotson first touchdown since probably like 2020. Um, good offensive showing. This is what the Eagles really try to do every year or every week. You get those 14 carries, you get those 150 yards, and then when you get close, you can do the tush push or you can throw a quick touchdown like AJ Brown, who'll rip that thing right back down. Um, it's really hard to say the Giants really messed up because you lose one of your main pieces in Cam Scatterboo. Now you have to throw a bunch of times with Jackson Dart, and he's still getting into the swing of things. It's not like he played poorly. 10 incompletions. He still had a touchdown under 200 yards. So their offense is very limited. They don't have a ton of depth. Hopefully, Tyrone Tracy can step up and fill the shoes that Scatabo was supposed to really come into. But I mean, we'll see.
For this next game, we have the Patriots destroying the Browns. I don't know what you think, Michael, but I mean, Drake May got sacked 6 times, 5 of those coming from Myles Garrett. They only got 1 sack on Dylan Gabriel, and they still absolutely demolished the Browns. I'm starting to fully buy into this Patriots team.
Yeah, dude, I'm already there. To be honest with you, yeah. Drake May is looking good. I don't think he's really MVP level. That he does have 15 touchdowns. He's over 2,000 yards. He's 75% completion. These are really good stats. You do have to start sprinkling it in. He only has 3 picks. So you should start sprinkling in like, hey, maybe this is like a top contender. He's one of the best offenses right now. 422 yards. But they do have 2 turnovers. And you have 7 penalties, 54 yards. Not the best. They're pretty bad on third down, 3 for 11. But how much is that? Like stuff like Myles Garrett getting 5 sacks, which is so like insane that you get 5 sacks and you're still losing by a lot of scores.
I mean, I know Myles Garrett was frustrated at the end of the game, but I don't really feel bad for him, first of all, because he's getting paid like $40 million a year. And because you signed to play for the Browns. So I don't really, if I was a football player and I wanted to win, I would not play for the Browns. I'd play for literally any other team except for maybe for the Jets.
And this is, Browns front office is one of the worst in football. How they're handling their QB situation has put this entire team in a state of just like shit, really. Their leading rusher this game was a wide receiver. Quinshot Judkins, 9 carries for 19 yards. That's not good. Dylan Gabriel, he needed to pass a lot. Yeah, you get 2 touchdowns. You were also throwing 2 picks. It wasn't a good game for him. Drake May he's just cooking. There's a great offensive showing. The Patriots coming into this, into this year, people still might have thought this is like a rebuild year, first year with Mike Vrabel. Second year with Mike Vrabel, sorry. We'll see how he's going. We'll judge, and then they end up becoming a top performer in the entire conference and a possible top seed as they return to top
evil
of the
form.
leaderboard. Yeah, basically evil form. So it's very interesting to see. I like the Patriots. This is a fun team. It's not no Tom Brady team. It's a very it is a very slayable team, but you have to find a way to slow them down. Once you slow them down, you can slay them, but slowing them down is already hard as it is. So I think I said this last week. I wanted Mike Vrabel for the Falcons head coach opening. We did interview him. Ultimately going for Raheem Morris. So we obviously can see how a team arguably less talented than the Atlanta Falcons is 6-2, and it's not like they have like a horrible record against like bad teams or anything like that. I mean, they beat the Bills, Well, honestly, the Bills are really the only good team that they beat. They beat the Browns, Titans, Saints, Panthers, and Dolphins. Lost to the Steelers and the Raiders. Um, but I mean, they're putting up like points, you know. So I like them.
For our next game, we have the Buccaneers blowing out the Saints.
Oof, I was so wrong on this one.
This game was very interesting. I mean, Baker Mayfield had 0 touchdowns. They only had 1 offensive touchdown, but Spencer Rattler threw a pick six. They put in Tyler Shuck. I mean, he's worse than Spencer Rattler. I mean, I know he's a rookie, so uh, yeah. I mean, I know he's starting now. I mean, Tez Johnson proves like again they keep losing receivers on this Tampa Bay team, and yet they have another person ready. Tez Johnson is good. We know Emeka Egbuka is very good. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to add just besides that this Tampa team is still very good. I know they just lost to the Lions, but they are able to win by any means necessary. Their defense really stepped up, and we know the Saints have played some pretty good games against good defenses before. So Baker Mayfield didn't have the best game, but they still blew them out, which is not an easy thing to do.
Blowing out a team in general is just difficult. I'm happy to see the Saints lose, even though I picked them last week. Um, it's unfortunate that Tampa Bay's pretty much all but like earned the number one spot in the NFC South. They'll probably win this division pretty handedly, barring like a major injury or just a general season collapse. And once Godwin comes back, now you have another target that you can throw to in Buka and Godwin, even Kate Otten, really. They're gonna look good. And then once Bucky Irving comes back as well, now your team is really fully opened up. So this is still an injury-prone team. With the Saints, for some reason, I feel like they still haven't accepted that they need to start rebuilding. Hopefully that'll come into fruition this next couple of weeks. Probably this week because this is actually the trade deadline week, I'm pretty sure. So, big blowout, especially in New Orleans.
Yep.
That's all we need to talk about.
Really.
This next game, though, another divisional game, another expected result. Colts thrashed the Titans 38-14. Jonathan Taylor has scored 3 total touchdowns this game. Like his 3rd game in a row where he scored 3 touchdowns. He has 12 rushing touchdowns. I'm trying to find out how many receiving touchdowns he has. I think he just has like 3. So he's cooking. He actually might be. He has the most carries, most yards, most touchdowns, in the league as a running back. So
yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's really crazy.
It is very crazy. Everybody's talking about. I was talking about Bijan, Offensive Player of the Year, these past 2 weeks. Have really taken him away from that. If Jonathan Taylor keeps this up, it's honestly him. Daniel Jones threw for 3 touchdowns as well. And Cam Ward actually honestly didn't do too bad. I mean, 250, a touchdown. He did throw a pick. He tried. Cam Ward is definitely not the reason this team is losing. So I wish him better, but oof, what an expected result, huh?
I mean, the Colts are the number 1 overall team in the league right now, which is crazy to say. I remember, again, I predicted they were literally going to win 1 game this year, and they are only a 1-loss team, which should have been a win, in my opinion. So they are just, I mean, I don't have much more to add. They're doing crazy. They're going crazy. Jonathan Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year. Michael Pittman's very good. Their defense is all like just. I think Shane Steichen is definitely, him or Mike Vrabel are in the competition to be Coach of the Year this year.
Definitely, I totally agree with you. Yeah, expect a result.
Yeah, for the next game, Broncos Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys would win this game. I'm not surprised I was wrong. Broncos played probably their first full 4-quarter game, and the result was an absolute blowout. I mean, Bo Nix threw a very bad interception, but he still had 4 touchdowns. Very efficient football. Dak Prescott, again, it's just if he can't put the whole team on his back, I mean, he had an off day and their defense just couldn't stop them, and it's not really his fault. I mean, what, they had 2 picks. How many sacks did the Broncos got? 2 sacks. The Cowboys got 0. So I don't have much else to add. Just I wasn't expecting this, but I'm not surprised it happened.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm not surprised that something like this happened. Denver defense would be the team to stop, you know, Dallas's offense. Dak Prescott really had a not that good of a game, so it is what it is. Dallas can still bounce back from this. You know, there's not a ton of teams that can slow them down in the ways that this did. So, you know, more power to him. You know, an expected result it is crazy that this is in the form that it happened, but you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, Cowboys get that nice victory, 20 points, or Denver gets a nice victory of 20 points. And this following game,
Sunday Night Football.
very exciting for Packers fans. You got 35-25 over the Pittsburgh Steelers, Green Bay, and the Steelers, obviously. Jordan Love, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He only has 8 incompletions out of 37 passing attempts. Tucker Kraft almost single-handedly carried me to a win. 7 receptions, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. That offense exploded on a defense that honestly had been playing decently well. But I mean, what are you gonna do when big ass man like Tucker Kraft is coming and just dunking on you?
Yeah, I mean this again. The Steelers were at 1.4-1, and now they have lost 2 straight. If their I just think their defense has gotten old. They had 0 sacks. I mean, that was supposed last year. The whole strength of the Steelers was that they're like the defensive team. You know, that's always been their identity, and their offense is better than it's been in the past. And it's just kind of unfortunate that, of course, this is the year their defense completely falls apart, and now they actually have a mediocre to decent offense, but now their defense can't stop anything. But yeah, I mean, I know Jordan Love had 20 straight completions to end the game. Yeah, which is crazy. Tucker Kraft is a monster, but I don't have much else to add. I'm not very happy about this. I thought the Steelers would win, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, maybe the defense will step up later on for Pittsburgh, but you know, it is how it happened. You can't stop it when a team's in their rhythm. Speaking of rhythm, we come into this next game, Monday Night Football. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Washington Commanders, an absolute thrashing, 28-7. Patrick Mahomes found a rhythm, even though he threw 2 early interceptions. I'm very shocked by that when I come to look at the stat sheet near halftime, and both quarterbacks have 2 picks. But still, the thing that set it away, 7-7 coming into halftime, and then second half, it's just 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, and a final Rashee Rice touchdown in the fourth to really pull away. Travis Kelce actually caught a ball and did something with it. Pacheco, oddly enough, has cemented himself, I think, as a good runner, even though Kareem Hunt has 2 touchdowns himself. So it's unfortunate. I think this Commanders team lost without Jaden Daniels. I think they'll always probably lose without Jaden Daniels, unless you play something like the Raiders. But good on the Chiefs for finding their rhythm and just able to dog on a team that's already down.
Yeah, but that wraps up our I guess, yeah, I mean, I realized I hadn't said anything. Yeah, I really wasn't surprised by this. That one Terry McLaurin catch was crazy.
That is true. Yeah, that was a good catch.
That was a very good catch. That was the only point in the game where I was like, oh, maybe the Commanders can do this. No. I do think the Chiefs, unfortunately, are again a top 3 team in the league. Their offense has just completely come back to life. Their defense is always is at least good, which is very frustrating. But uh, yeah, it's just so annoying how Patrick Mahomes, I feel like he has a better chance of completing a pass when he scrambles out of the pocket to extend the play than he does in the pocket, which I've just never seen that before. Um, but yeah, that wraps up our recap for week 8. And we are now going to transition into our educational
Yep. Class is in session.
classes in session.
Yeah, I think last time I think you began your teaching, so I'll go ahead and start here. I'm going to be going over an RPO, or the run pass option. Um, this is a
I love that in college football. I love running those.
yeah, it's a very common college play. You see it sometimes in certain teams like Commanders and the Jets, where or the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, where there's really a dual threat where the quarterback can really keep the ball and still give you 15 yards, or he can hand the ball off, give you 15, or throw a quick slant, get a quick 5. You know, the run pass option is it's when the quarterback decides to snap the ball, or decides to hand the ball off after the snap, or he can run himself or throw a quick pass. He's watching the defense itself to see what they're doing and what they commit to. The offensive line will block as a run play, so that'll give the impression that it is a run play. So if the defender commits to stopping the run, the QB can pull the ball away from their running back, throw it, or run the opposite direction of the running back. If they do recognize, okay, this could be a pass play, and they drop back, you can hand off the ball to the running back, and the back can still go get a good chunk of yardage. Or you can keep the ball, go in the opposite direction, whichever the read looks. Like I said, it's not a trick, built-in read. You're not even really trying to confuse the defense. You're really just trying to take advantage of what's in front of you. And this is all because it's happening after the snap. So everything's in motion. The defense would just suddenly have to, try to adapt. In the NFL, you have a ton of smart defensive players, and a ton of schemes that are built to inherently set up their defense for success. So you don't see this a ton. Yeah, you'll usually, like, with a lot of passing uh, concepts, you won't get a ton of things. You'll get a slant, bubble screen, stick route, something simple. And then with the rush, it'll probably just be an inside rush on the edges of the line. So it's very interesting. Jane Daniels is I think their offense was built around him and doing a bunch of RPOs. When Lamar Jackson won his first MVP, a lot of his long rushes came from stuff like RPOs. So it's very interesting. It's versatile if you have the team like pieces. So that this RPO is, like I said, commonly used in college just because most often, like, it's very simple to know, and it puts, like, if you have a good quarterback, you can get a lot of yards out of this stuff. But when you have somebody like a real pocket passer, like a Kirk Cousins type of deal, obviously you can't run this because Kirk Cousins isn't going to run with it. So he's either going to throw the ball or he's going to hand the ball off.
Mr. Statue.
Yeah, exactly. You can easily hop on. You can either shut down both, but if there's a third option, very difficult. So that's kind of the use of RPOs. You're really looking for zones in the defense when you're throwing it. And yeah, so it is very situational, I think. That's also why you don't see it a ton. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Very simple play.
For mine, I'm also doing an offensive concept. Mine is the smash formation, which I did touch on when I went over different routes, like trees and concepts for passing, but this is going to be more specific, more in depth on how the smash concept works. And so basically, the smash is a high-low read on the outside cornerback. So it combines a short hitch curl route, which is the low, with a corner route, which is the high, on the same side of the field. So this essentially gives the quarterback a close read and a far read, and they can read the defense, see where the cornerbacks are, see where the linebackers are, and see if there's a window open. And this is designed to stretch a zone defense vertically and force this is the cornerback to either choose, the close curl route or the high corner route. So it kind of forces an opening within zone defense. And the typical route combo is you have an outside receiver who runs a 5-yard hitch route, a slot receiver who runs the corner route, so about 10 to 12 yards towards the sideline. The running back who usually swings or does, kind of a check release, so a pressure valve. If something's happening, you just do a quick check down. The running back tries to gain a few yards. And there is then a backside, which is a dig or post route to occupy the safeties. And so this really just helps basically scheme open someone if the defense is not prepared for it. For man coverage, if they're able to kind of detect it, change the play, this would kind of shut it down. But it is good for, staying in rhythm. It gives the quarterback a quick read for the most part. And especially because they're on the same side of the field, he can look, make his first read, make his second read, make a decision. He doesn't have to be checking left, center, right, or 4 receivers. It just makes it a lot easier. And so if the cornerback sinks deep, you throw it to the close route. And if the cornerback goes towards the curl route, he's going to throw it over the top. If neither's open, then you just check down to the running back. But yeah, pretty simple. This is actually a pretty common formation. You have the 2 receivers. You might also involve a tight end. But this is part of the West Coast offense and pretty popular. As we know, West Coast offense is a very popular play style and a lot of different teams run it.
Man, I just love hearing this man talk to me, telling me how things go. I love it.
Yeah, you're a good student.
Smash concepts is I'm sure I don't know how often or how common they are in NCAA, but they're very common in Madden. And I love a good smash concept.
Absolutely.
Those are the mesh is what I use to get short yardage. Smash is what I use to get medium. So it's these two are these are the common popular ones for low effort, people like me or you who don't know a ton. It's very easy, I can get yards out of this. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so well, that's it for class today, fellas. So you go ahead and put your notebooks away. We'll go ahead and talk about our predictions for this week. So this Thursday night game that's going to be played today, this is the AFC game. This is between the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. Miami came off of a good win here. This is going to be in Miami. But so do the Ravens. I believe Lamar Jackson is practicing this week, so he should be coming back. Should he come back, there's no semblance of victory for Miami here. So I am still going to take the Ravens. If Tyler Huntley plays, it is still possible, especially because he's comfortable in this offense, and Derrick Henry is still a force to be reckoned with. Something tells me the Ravens are smarter than the Falcons, and they will run the ball more against a team who cannot stop the run. So yeah, I'm taking Baltimore here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think with Lamar in, it's going to be extremely difficult, especially with his just insane scrambling ability. We know that Miami is not a good run defense. And Derrick Henry, I just think, especially with how Baltimore just loves to run the ball down the throat of other teams, I just really don't see a way that Miami pulls this off. I think both of their wins have come against just inferiorly coached teams. And say what you want about John Harbaugh, he might not be the best coach, but he certainly is a winning coach for the most part. For the next game, and this is one that is actually a little bit difficult for me to decide on, and this is the Broncos playing in Houston. I will be transparent, I am picking the Broncos here, but if the Broncos again play a 1 quarter game and Houston is able to play again just a solid game on offense, this could be a surprise. But I do just think, especially with Denver leading the league in sacks, the offensive line of Houston just being terrible, I do see Denver winning this one pretty convincing.
Yeah, I agree with you. If pretty much the exact same stuff that you said. I'm just not very confident in Houston to come up with this offense. They were able to shut down Dallas like handedly, and Houston's one thing is that their offense has been constantly struggling. So I feel like this is a pretty easy Denver win. Their offensive line isn't the best, and I know Denver is pretty good at creating pressure. So we'll see. I think it is a bit more miracle for Houston to win, but yeah, I'm taking Denver. This next game here, gonna be the Tennessee Titans versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are coming off a mini bye from playing on Thursday, especially after they just routed the team they played, which I'm blanking on. Doesn't really matter. I'm going Chargers here. Justin Herbert is flourishing with his new relationship with Madison Beer and playing really good football. So any man does those two things, he's unstoppable. Right now, he's unstoppable. Yeah. So give me the Los Angeles Chargers, probably another blowout.
I completely agree. I didn't realize, my roommate actually pointed out how large Justin Herbert's hands are, and I didn't even realize, but like Justin Herbert has like disgustingly big hands. And I don't know, and he I guess he's 6'6". So Justin Herbert is an absolute unit of a man.
He's got great hair too.
Yeah, great hair, great face, just great body, great player.
Better have a small dick or else it's just not fair.
Michael, you're thinking a little bit more dirty than me.
Being real, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing really well, especially with Joe Alt back. I mean, we saw the difference. Joe Alt is a monster. And I think Tennessee is gonna just completely falter. For the next game, we have the Colts versus the Steelers. Again, this is kind of a no-brainer. I think the Colts are gonna obliterate the Steelers. Colts have a better defense, and their offense is the best in the league right now. I don't have much else to say except unless Aaron Rodgers is able to revert back to like 2012 form, I don't think this is going to be close.
Yeah, I agree with you. Arthur Smith isn't the one to dial up plays that topple great defenses. And just the way that Indianapolis is playing is just so astounding. I'm also with you here. I do think that the Colts are going to not even squeak out. I think this is going to be a decent 2-score victory. There's not many teams that I think can stop the Colts right now. So easy victory for them away. This next game, we have two teams coming off of their byes and playing each other. This is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is in Las Vegas. I don't really know how this is going to go. Not Tyson Campbell. Who's the corner they traded for? Greg Newsome. He hasn't really been playing super well. Coming off this bye where he finally has a week to go ahead and get situated with this team, I think they're going to see an improvement in their defense. The Raiders are a very beatable team. And when both of these teams have time to prepare, I feel like with Liam Cohen that the Jaguars are going to end up having a better approach to this game, even though they are away. I'm going to take the Jaguars.
Yeah, I also take the Jags on this one. I think even though they're not playing as well as they were to begin the season. The Raiders are just absolutely abysmal. Um, Geno Smith is just not playing well. They don't really have a good receiver. Ashton Genty doesn't have the offensive line to do well. And the Jaguars are just a better rounded team. So I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't close and the Raiders just have like another 3 interception game. Now, this is probably one of the games of the week, if not the entire year. We have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills again in the regular season, one of the most heated rivalries in all of professional sports. My theory this year is every year the Chiefs lose to the Bills in the regular season and then beat them in the playoffs. I think this year the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills in the regular season and lose to them in the playoffs. So, my prediction is that the Chiefs go into Buffalo and actually win. It will probably be a really close game, but I will then say I will then pick Buffalo to win in the postseason.
Interesting future that you foreseen. Um, I agree with you this week here. I do think Kansas City's going to win. Their offense has found a great rhythm. Buffalo's defense is still stoppable, or it's very stoppable, and it's not very good at stopping things other than like the Panthers. Um, and plus the Chiefs, just historically, they do have the Bills number. The Chiefs need this win right now more than the Buffalo Bills need this win. So I do think they're going to play a bit harder. And they're on the upswing. You know, they're recovering from, you know, how bad they've been playing in the first half of the year. Patrick Mahomes isn't going to let this continue. He already hasn't. I think they're on like a 3-game winning streak, 2 or 3. So I'm taking the Chiefs here. Um, Following this next game, we're going to move into the AFC versus the NFC games. It's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Chicago Bears. This is a bit weird, right? Because Joe Flacco is questionable. Should he play? Is he going to be playing how he has been playing because of the shoulder injury? Should he not play? Is Jake Browning able to do what he's been doing? I don't know either way, but I do know if the Bears have anything, they do have a decent secondary. Um, so I can easily see the Bears taking this one. I do think it would be close. Cincinnati has been very competitive in games. So this one's really like a toss-up. I think I had before, I had gone through all the weeks and I had like gave quick predictions and I had the Bears before. But just because of how much of a toss-up it is, I really do want to go the Bengals here. They're at home. They have that, you know, feel to them. If Joe Flacco plays, I feel like it's pretty much going to be like it's not going to be an easy win by any measure, but I do think the Bengals have a clear sight to victory.
Yeah, I agree with Michael here. I think that with the secondary of the Bears being out, with Joe Flacco playing well, and with them having clearly the better receivers and the better offense, I do see the Bengals. I wouldn't be surprised if they just destroyed the Bears here. I mean, the Bears are not a good offense. Again, my theory will stand to see if they're able to beat up on bad defenses, which the Bengals have, but for the most part, I still expect the Bengals to win. Could be a shootout, we'll see. For the next game, we have the Falcons in New England. If I'm being honest, I don't think this is going to be a close game, and I think New England is going to win. Unless the Falcons are able to come in with a good game plan, their defense shows up and their offense shows up, which is possible. And I want to believe in the Falcons, but I would rather be happily wrong than to come in again, pick the Falcons, and be disappointed by the coaching staff and their decisions.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think this is an easy Patriots win. The Falcons have shown that they are not capable of showing up to games, especially big ones, especially away. Michael Penix back, it doesn't matter. If our offense and our defense play exceptionally well, or at least up to what they could be, their potential, whatever, maybe But even if they do, the Patriots are still good enough to win. Um, and like I said, I mean they just haven't shown that they could come to games prepared. So this is going to be an easy Patriots victory, and it's probably going to be by multiple scores. Moving to the NFC games, first game here is going to be the Green Bay Packers versus the Carolina Panthers. Um, I don't know how long Bryce Young is going to be out with a with Micah Parsons being there, and then just the Green Bay offense playing as they are. Um, I just don't see Carolina going into Lambeau and winning. I can't tell you for certain if it's going to be a big like blowout or if it's going to be close. I can see it go either way, but regardless, I do see the Green Bay Packers coming out.
Yeah, I think you did it. I mean, that's good analysis. It depends on if Bryce Young is playing, and like I said earlier, I still wouldn't expect them to win if Bryce Young is in, but I would like to see how much of an impact he makes on this team. If he does play, I think this could be closer. See if Rico Dowdle, or basically, if the coaching is able to outperform Matt LaFleur. But like I said, I do not expect the Panthers to really come close in this game. Um, Moving on, we have Minnesota at Detroit. JJ McCarthy will be playing. I know that for the Lions, we are getting back one of our starting linebackers. We are getting back one of our starting corners. And we are getting back, I think, our second or third string running back. Actually, that's not true because we already have like two, or like our fourth string running back, basically. But, you know, our team is getting healthy over the bye week. We have our best defensive tackle back in. Aiden Hutchinson is playing well. And JJ McCarthy's not very good with pressure right now. The Jameer Gibbs has in the last like 2 years gone for like 120 plus yards each game against the Vikings. Jared Goff is very good against the Brian Flores blitz. I really just in every facet I don't see how the Vikings are able to pull this off unless JJ McCarthy is suddenly a completely different player. Um, and again, it's a divisional game, so I just want to acknowledge that anything can happen. Like, you know, the Falcons went in to play against the Panthers, and the Panthers shut them out. So we never know what's going to happen. But I do trust, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Michael. I do trust the coaching staff of Detroit a lot more. I think Detroit's strength this year is their defense, and especially with I mean, how the Chargers just completely destroyed them last week. I don't think this is going to be close, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions put up 30 plus points on them.
Yeah, dude. This is Vikings coming off of a mini bye and a loss. You're coming off of a regular bye and a win, I think. Um, I I don't see. I really don't see Vikings coming in. They might be able to make it closer than what anyone can predict, but in reality, I just don't see. I don't see Vikings coming into Detroit and really giving you all the works, especially off of a bye week. So I'm going the Detroit Lions here. I'm sure you love to hear that, especially in a divisional game like this. Moving on to this next game, New York Giants versus the San Francisco 49ers with no Cam Scatterboo, no real tight end option for New York. I'm not very confident in their team. Jackson Dart, his beginner's luck is starting to waver. And Kyle Shanahan is just good at preparing his team and showing up to games and playing competitively. So I'm going to take San Francisco here.
Yeah, I am actually just because I feel like this week a lot of these games feel pretty straightforward. And I was looking and I try to think at least for a game or two every week of there's always at least one or two upsets in this league. And I know Cam Scadaboo's out, Malik Neighbors is out. But this San Francisco defense is just completely out. And I do think, and I'm taking a risk here, and I'm going to be honest, I don't expect to be right on this. but I'm actually going to pick New York here. And I can explain. I just think because, Jackson Dart is playing well until, I think the refs kind of completely screwed the Giants over last week. Not that they would have won, but they have a better defense. Their offense is serviceable. And I just think that with how injured San Francisco is, Brian Dable needs to win to keep his job. And sometimes we'll just see do they have the culture to be like, okay, next man up. I mean, we know Scadaboo's out, but like we're gonna win for him. I think the Giants will win this game. For the next game, we have the Saints versus the Rams. Again, this is one of those games that I don't think is going to even be remotely close. I think the Rams are going to absolutely destroy the Saints here. Matthew Stafford's on fire. The Saints are starting Tyler Shuck, who is not good. I don't really have much else to say. Yeah, he's not good.
Yeah, Rams coming off of a bye too. This being in LA, New Orleans fans are not going to be like. I know LA has an issue with their fans where like, other teams will buy up most of their seats. New Orleans fan flying there or paying an exorbitant amount of money to go to LA to get a ticket to watch their team get dogged on. So home field advantage, bye week advantage, and just the fact that their team is actually good versus New Orleans' team who is not good. Easy Rams victory here. This
Absolutely.
This next game here, Washington versus Seattle. Seattle's coming off of a bye. Jaden Daniels, I don't know when he's coming back either. I think he might be coming back this game. I'm just not, coming off the bye, Seattle's playing pretty well. Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, and Jigba are just on like layers of their own right now. So I feel like I'm pretty confident, even though they're away, in picking Seattle here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that Seattle is just the better defense, the better offense. Everything about it just screams to me that they're going to perform well. They're coming off of a bye week. They're well rested. The Commanders are just an old team. And even if Jaden Daniels is playing, I don't see this being a particularly close game. For our last game of this week, we have our Monday night game of the Cardinals in Dallas for a divisional game. That's not true. This is not a divisional game.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Anyways, I actually am going to be picking the Cardinals. My reasoning is that every game they've played this year has been a one-score game. And they're coming off a bye week against a Dallas defense that is just not good. And I think that they're going to finally come in and get a much-needed win to try to stay alive for the playoffs. I don't think they'll make it, but I think that they're going to be fired up to try to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if you said this, Cardinals coming off of a bye, playing in Dallas. I don't think the Cardinals have like an insanely good defense. It's not horrible. Their offense is pretty good, so it'll probably be a high-scoring game. But Dallas being shut down as they did against Denver makes me want. I'm just gonna take Dallas. Their offense is way better than the Cardinals' defense is, and the Cardinals' offense is not. I don't think they're gonna be able to upkeep the fire much like Dallas will. So on this Monday night game, I'm gonna go ahead and take Dallas to round out our predictions. And we'll just go ahead and just go briefly into our fantasy real fast before we let you guys go. I have a very interesting matchup for me. I'm really playing around with my wide receivers right now because my wide receivers
playing with them.
Oh yeah, they're playing with me too, bro. At this point, I have to choose between T. Higgins and Wan'Dale Robinson as my wide receiver too. So I really don't know who I should throw in. T. Higgins is obviously the better wide receiver, but Wan'Dale Robinson gets more targets on New England, or not New England, New York. So we'll see how that goes. They're playing San Francisco. I might change that at some point, and I have until Sunday to do so. But otherwise, it's very simple. I also lost last week. Everybody put up a lot of points and kept the game very close, even though Quentin Johnston's goose egg. But at the end of the day, the goose egg let me down. And also, Bijan Robinson only putting up like 5 points also let me down. So that's how my week went. In my other league, the one I'm in with you, I also had a goose egg with Drake London. I forgot to take him out, but I still dogged the other team because they don't check. It doesn't look like they check their teams, but it is what it is. That team is almost automatic, but we'll see how yours.
Yeah, so for the league we're both in, Joe Flacco was my starting quarterback, and he went off 24 points. I have Bijan too. He didn't do super well. Neither did Chuba Hubbard. AJ Brown was out. I made the mistake of not taking him out. And then I didn't do super well. I've only put up 105 points, but again, the person I was playing with was not checking. So I was able to win. And then in my other league that I'm in, the one I won last year, I also won, but this one I put up 142 points. I had Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Scattaboo, Lad McConkey, Kayshon Boutte, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert, Steelers defense, which actually had negative 8 points, but I still was able to win, and Cameron Dicker. So I had a really good week this week. I think you and I are going to be playing soon. I think either next week or the week after. So we're going to have to see who's got the better lineup.
Yeah. We'll have to see how this advances. So I'm very excited. Um, well, this has been a great week, man. I enjoy talking to you about football because, man, as each week progresses, I feel like you and I are becoming more and more in depth, and we're able to, talk a bit more. We're learning, which is half the battle in learning is just showing up to class and talking about things and going over it. So it's very fun to see how we're improving, and honestly, with our picks and stuff, we're doing really well.
Yeah, I when I've been watching games, I've been noticing more things just that I have been learning from you and from me. So it definitely makes it a lot easier to watch games and to know what's going on.
Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you being here. If you've made it this far, please make sure you comment whether or not Ben looks like Kirk Cousins. I'll flash up his picture again here.
Yeah.
Boom. Please let us know because this is a very important topic that I really would like to know. So, yeah, I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.